Yeah, sorry, Craig. Scott's coming out of his shell, and he's overcoming his shyness, and has something he wants to say.
A lot of you don't know this, but way back in the beginning, when the contests and stuff started coming out, Walt wasn't in favor of that. But being Walt, he was convinced by people that we should have that as part of the convention and that sort of thing, and he went for it, even though he was against it. But he felt like that was the betterment of the AFA. So that's the kind of guy he was. He was not set in his ways. But a lot of y'all don't know that.
Say something. No, I agree. When I would talk to Walt, and when we would visit, he was definitely not into. He wasn't into a lot of it. He was into shoeing horses. He shot horses. I still shoe for some of his customers, and he shot. What? He was 94. Yeah. Well, he shot up until a couple of years ago. I saw him driving up and down the roads, and I know because I know it's a small little cliquish town, and they're like, yeah, Walt's 94 years is a pretty good lick. And I think that he liked it. Yeah, 94 years old and probably 92 out there doing, and he took part, he did like burros and donkeys and mules. That was his expertise as far as like, he just thought that they were more trustworthy and enjoyed them way more. But, I don't know, I agree, I couldn't say it any better. Andrew sized it up the best. Is like when you sit there and you talk about what he organized before the internet, like everybody talks about going to contests, and you can, Hank is like, you got the app? What app? The AFA app. You just pull up an app and you can see all this stuff. And it's like, we just all take that for granted, but it used to be, you get the American Farrier's Journal, or you got the Anvil, and you looked in the back in the want ads section, and they had contests in there, and you're like, well, Scott Davidson's gonna have a contest. So you used a phone with that curly thing on the end that went into it, and you called him. And you were like, and it's like organization, and then you think like Andrew says, and I passed over it, it's like, holy cow, you have life that's organized. You have dates, you have times when we're gonna do certifications, you have all these things, and it's like, it's like, there's so many people who are like, well, the AFA is this. It's tradition, and it's good tradition, because I happen to think that most of what we could learn is still behind us and not in front of us on a horse. And I think that that's not saying there's a lot in front of us, but I'm just saying that the AFA has got this stability, and Walt was always there to nurture it. And I think that the 3 years that I got to sit on the executive committee with Walt Taylor was probably the most educational 3 years of my life. And I don't even feel like I'm qualified to sit up here and talk at this thing, because I know he had an impact on a lot of people. But it's just like, my life has been like that. I've gotten to hang around Edward Martin, and I would consider Walt Taylor as one of those people who had the fortitude, the backbone. He was a horseshoer. He didn't do all of it. Probably wasn't the best at all of it, but he had vision, and he had good vision. And I think that he was always, because people swoop in. What you do is you have people come into the AFA, they learn how the AFA works, and then they can use that against the AFA. And then you run a business that is in direct competition with the AFA. And it's like, Walt, he gave me the Reader's Digest version on all the stuff that he's run for. And he's like, sponsorship, it's a tricky road. You take that money, and then all of a sudden you're not talking about horseshoeing, you're talking about products. All these things were things that Walt was very, very concerned about. And I'm not saying they're black and white, and I ain't saying that they're just a line drawn in the sand. I'm just saying that it's not just the easy road that you think it is. He's like, you take that money, there's no such thing as a worm without a hook on the inside of it. And it's like, Walt was a very polarizing person, and I thought I was going to be some glory boy and get to be president of the AFA and have a good time. And then all of a sudden, he told me all the fine print, and then I was like, holy cow. holy cow, there's a lot going on in the world. So, but he was a backbone, and I tell you what, it'll be hard to move on without him, but I definitely think that he damn sure gave us a good head start on it. And I think it's a great organization, and Walt had a tremendous, I think everybody in the room has a tremendous amount to do with it, but Walt, he did stay the straight and narrow. Just like out here right by registration, all these old guys that you see talking out there, I see you out there all the time, Scott. I know where to find Scott. He's out there in the sofa chairs. That's where all the talking and the old school is in the history. So good on Walt. R.I.P. Walt.